If you have been following along for a while, there was a story a while back. The OP had paid for a Disney trip for him and his girlfriend slash fiance, maybe? They broke up. She kept the trip, was engaged 3 months later, and we're pretty sure we have the ex-girlfriend's point of view. We're pretty sure that these stories are connected, and her side is just as freaking entitled as you would expect. We think. We're not 100% positive, but we're like 97% positive that this is connected to the previous story that we had where OP was trying to get his money back, and everybody that was commenting, trying to give him advice was saying, look, it was on your credit card, contact your credit card company, cancel the charges, and he was going to take her to court over this too. So keep that in mind. I'm sure you remember that story if you've been hanging around for a while. This one is, am I the ascon for telling my ex he's not getting his money back for the Disney trip he paid for? I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have like the other side of this. I'm unreasonably excited. I, 26 female, and my ex, 28 male, Danny, had planned a Disney trip to celebrate my birthday, and he had agreed to cover 90% of the expenses with me paying the remaining 10%. Unfortunately, we broke up before the trip was scheduled to take place. Danny is now demanding either to come on the trip with me or get his money back. I don't feel this is right as he agreed to cover the majority of the costs. Additionally, my new boyfriend, Jimmy, 31 male, is telling me I don't have to repay Danny. Is Jimmy a judge? My sister, Wanda, 23 female, is advising me to pay Danny back to avoid legal issues. However, I disagree with her opinion as we had both agreed upon the terms of the trip before our breakup. I feel that it would be unfair for Danny to receive his money back since we both knew the risks involved when planning the trip together. Danny has threatened to take us to court, which has caused me unnecessary stress and anxiety. I don't feel he has a strong case as the arrangement was verbal and there was no formal contract in place. I'm saddened that Danny would even consider taking legal action against me over such a trivial matter. Am I the asshole for telling my ex he's not getting his money back for the Disney trip he paid for? Okay, if I remember correctly, this was some kind of gift for her. However, his name is on everything. So if he bought this, he paid for 90% of this, which means all of the tickets are in his name. So he books everything. They break up. How does she automatically get to keep everything? That's where I'm really confused, is she just assumed ownership and says that she gets to keep everything. And this is also one of those situations where you have someone who just thinks that they're above the law. And I don't know if he has a case here since everything is in his name. I do think that he would have the ability to cancel the charges because the trip hasn't happened yet. But how did she get to keep it? Why wouldn't he get it? After all, he paid for all of it at this point. The 10% that she was going to cover, I guarantee it wasn't going to be until they were there, so everything pre-plan wise he had covered. Also, Jimmy, you don't have to pay Danny back. Jimmy, your opinion on this matter means jack shit, okay? You're the new guy. You're the new guy who's okay going to Disney on the ex-boyfriend's dime, and that says a whole hell of a lot about you, Jimmy, which is probably why she gave you the name Jimmy in this story. I can't imagine entering a relationship where this was going on and being okay going to Disney on the ex-boyfriend's dime, especially while there was conflict going on about him trying to get his money back for it. I can't imagine having the audacity to be okay with it, but even further jump in and be like, you don't have to pay him back. We should go to Disney on his dime. What kind of shit brick of a man does that make Jimmy? These two deserve each other, I can tell you that damn much. Disney's not really the vacation I have in mind for them. I have a different vacation in mind, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I have a different trip in mind. Let's refund the Disney tickets back to Danny, and instead, give OP here a consolation prize. She and Jimmy can go on this trip instead. It's just like Disneyland, only instead of castles and animals, there's just assholes. Assholes everywhere. Asshole rides. You can take pictures with assholes. There's even an asshole castle. It's amazing. It's really impressive. Just can't imagine just what kind of person is okay with this. And even more so, the new boyfriend, which she was engaged to and now might be married to. New boyfriend, okay? They're not married yet, at least at the time of this post. She said new boyfriend, Jimmy, 31 male, is telling me we don't have to repay Danny. Of course, sure. And some of the theories that were going around in the old story from Danny's point of view were that she had already decided that she was going to break up with him before this trip was even planned. She just hung around long enough to get her hands on the trip and then was like, Deuces. Meanwhile, Jimmy, who's been waiting in the wings for years at this point, is like, babe, just hang in there a little while longer. We'll get the Disney trip and then jigs up. We can get out of there. And that's how it all worked out. Poor Danny. Holy shit, Danny. Danny, if this doesn't go your way, and if you end up going to court and the court tells you to suck it, which I don't think would happen, but it could happen, create a video and let's start a freaking GoFundMe for Danny. Danny needs to take a solo trip to Disney that is the most gosh heckin' amazing magical experience on the planet. And there needs to be a film crew there, of course, because someone has to cover it and be able to show OP, what's her bucket here, and Jimmy how great of a time that he is having. The kicker with this gift is that it was a gift for them to share together. So in my opinion here, even in a legal matter, this gift she would only get to keep one seat of. So essentially they would end up having to split it. But the gift was for them to do it together. If they're not together anymore, that gift no longer exists and he would get a refund on everything. At maximum, he may have to give her like the cash value of her portion of that, but it was for them to go on together. So half of that gift was his. You see where I'm going with it? I mean, the whole contingency on the trip was that they were going on it together. And once they broke up, that gift is null and void. Null and void. They should have a fight to the death to see who gets to go. Undead person wins. That's probably what the court's going to recommend.